This November, Pierce Transit's future is put up to a vote. Pierce County voters, including myself, will get to decide if Pierce Transit will see a 47% increase in service or will be left to cut service in order to balance their budget. How did we get here? What are the details of this 47% increase in service? Let's get into it. In order to properly understand why this is happening, some context is required.
A vast network of streetcar lines used to run through the streets of Tacoma and parts of broader Pierce County prior to the rise of car-centric urban design. When the cars came in, though, the streetcar tracks were torn out and the trams were replaced by buses. Eventually, in 1979, bus service in Pierce County was consolidated under one public entity that would be known as Pierce Transit. Although with some hiccups surrounding funding in the early 2000s, Pierce Transit was generally able to expand or maintain service until 2011. Unfortunately, a little earlier in 2009, due to the Great Recession, expenses grew larger than revenues. And then in 2011, Pierce Transit faced three major setbacks: an unbalanced budget, fuel explosion, and a failed ballot measure. Finally, when a similar ballot measure also failed in 2012, Pierce Transit was forced to cut service by 35%. Although the agency was able to somewhat bounce back with the little resources that they had in the following years, a mixture of the COVID-19 pandemic and the lowest sales tax percentage among comparable local transit agencies has led to yet more financial issues for Pierce Transit. According to statements made by the agency, if current conditions continue, large cuts to service may be needed in order to balance the budget. The last time that Pierce Transit received a sales tax increase was in 2002. And with 80% of their funding coming from the sales tax, it is simply not enough to run a decent transit system today.
Although the outlook may appear grim, Pierce Transit does not plan to cut back service. In fact, they want to greatly increase it. The way they seek to do this is by increasing the sales tax within the Pierce County Public Transit Benefit Area by 0.3%, from 0.6% to 0.9%. This sales tax is what the ballot measure is proposing. As stated, the current 0.6% sales tax is the lowest among peer transit agencies, with King County Metro taking 0.9%, Community Transit in Snohomish County taking 1.2%, and Intercity Transit in Thurston County also taking 1.2%. This tax increase is nothing unprecedented. It will bring us into line with our neighbors, both when it comes to relative service levels and tax percentage. This 0.3% sales tax increase will mean, in real terms, an extra 3 cents per $10 spent. To put this into further perspective, in order to make a purchase a singular dollar more expensive, you would need to spend $300 on said purchase. It is also important to note that the sales tax does not apply to essentials like groceries, energy, gas, rent, and most healthcare. So, what exactly will change about Pierce Transit service if the ballot measure passes? Well, there are 4 main categories: upgrading routes to high-capacity stream service, increasing service frequency, expanding service hours, and adding new routes. Alongside these, there are a few miscellaneous changes that don't really fit into categories that I'll mention at the end.
Before going over the details of the plan, I would like to make a quick disclaimer to make sure everything is clear. This video is being made entirely in my personal capacity. I do not work for Pierce Transit and I'm not being paid by anyone to make this video. Additionally, while I have done my research and have been given information about the plan, this video is not an authoritative source for what Pierce Transit will do if the ballot measure passes. Please check out their information for that.
As mentioned, the first major change in the proposal is the introduction of new stream routes. Stream is Pierce Transit's branding for their high-capacity transit routes. Compared to regular bus service, Stream runs more often, stops less, has more amenities at stops, and sometimes includes other features to help improve service.
Currently, the only Stream route that Pierce Transit operates is the Stream Community Line, which runs every 20 minutes during peak commuter hours between Commerce Street Station in downtown Tacoma and Spanaway Transit Center. With the new plan, the number of stream routes would increase from 1 to 3, with routes 2 and 3 being converted into stream routes and the community line being upgraded to run all day at a higher frequency. On weekdays, all 3 stream routes would run every 15 minutes during most of the day, with the remainder in the day and the weekends running every 20 minutes. Alongside the community lines changes, Route 1 would be retired, with the segment from TCC in downtown Tacoma being replaced by Route 25, a new route running every 15 minutes. In reality, this just means that Route 1 would be split up into 2 parts, both running every 15 minutes during weekdays. Route 2 would also be extended from its current terminus at Commerce Street Station to Tacoma Dome Station to improve connections with regional light rail plans. Overall, these changes would more than double service for Route 2, extend the hours of all 3 routes, and consistently maintain solid service throughout the day. The single largest change to the network would be more frequent service on many routes. Including the stream routes, the number of routes with a frequency of 20 minutes or better would improve from 2 routes to 7. These include the Stream Community Line, routes 2, 3, 4, 41, 54, and the new Route 25. If these changes take place, frequent bus service would stretch across Tacoma and Pierce County rather than being isolated to only 2 corridors. Along with the most frequent routes, all other routes would run every half hour on weekdays. That's right, no more routes will be relegated to always run once an hour. Along with increased frequency on weekdays, weekend frequency would also be improved. Although the amount of weekend service would still be less than weekdays, many routes would see great improvements. Another improvement is Route 400, the bus from downtown Tacoma to Puyallup running on the weekends. Overall, these frequency improvements would lead to a system that allows many more people to be able to count on the bus as a reliable form of transportation rather than an unpredictable one. Another large change to Pierce Transit service that will occur if the ballot measure passes is extended service hours. Rather than now, where many routes stop service in the late afternoon, the proposal calls for service to run at least until 10 o'clock in the evening for nearly all routes, with the stream routes and Route 25 running until midnight. It is not known, however, if or when routes will shift to their evening frequencies. Similar changes to service hours will happen on the weekends, with many routes running later than they do right now. Ultimately, the extended hours brought by the measure would greatly help anyone working later hours or going out at night. The final way that Pierce Transit seeks to improve bus service in this proposal is by adding, not counting Route 25, which is simply a replacement for Route 1, 5 new routes. Route 40, which covers the Port of Tacoma and parts of the east side. Route 51, a route that will go north, south, and central and south Tacoma, primarily via Tyler Street. Route 63, a previously discontinued route that will reconnect Pierce Transit service to northeast Tacoma. Route 491, a weekday-only route that is meant to connect more parts of Puyallup. And finally, Route 15, which is a seasonal route that would add service to the waterfront between downtown Tacoma and Ruston. It is worth reiterating that Route 15 is seasonal and would only run during the summer. Alongside these routes, Route 52 and 55 will merge into Route 5, creating a one-seat ride from TCC to Parkland Transit Center near PLU. All new permanent routes would run every 30 minutes on weekdays, helping connect areas that are in need of more service, or in the case of Northeast Tacoma, any service. While the primary beneficiary of the additional funding would be fixed-route bus service, Pierce Transit also plans to expand the boundaries of the shuttle paratransit system in line with the creation of the new routes, allowing seniors and those with disabilities in more parts of Puyallup and a large section of Northeast Tacoma to access the service.
Aside from all of the previously listed changes, there are a few more to mention. First off, seniors will be able to ride fare-free, which will help anybody who's tight on money or has a fixed income. Alongside this, youth will be able to ride free even if Washington State Climate Commitment Act funding dries up. Also, along with the seasonal Route 15, Route 11 will be deviated to Ruston, giving the city a year-long connection to fixed-route transit. Finally, more special event service would be available to the fair, concerts, and other events that need it. The implementation of this plan, if passed at the ballot box, would not take place immediately. Pierce Transit needs to buy more buses and hire more staff in order to implement all the changes mentioned. Both of these tasks, especially buying new buses, takes time. According to information I heard while at the board meeting where this plan was approved to be on the ballot, implementation would take place from 2027 to 2032, with the earliest changes being expanded service on weekends and the last changes being the introduction of new bus routes. To close, I would like to mention a few things that would put this into a broader context. First off, I would like to repeat that this is the first time in 14 years that Pierce County voters have had a chance to determine the future of our transit system. This is not an opportunity that comes around very often. Next, I would like to point out that investing in public transit does more than just make buses run more often. The service improvements in this plan would do a lot to help improve people's lives. You or someone you know or rely on may be one of those people. Looking at it purely from a financial perspective, transit investment pays off. According to the American Public Transit Association, every dollar invested into public transit generates $5 in public returns. Finally, I'll emphasize the importance of voting. This November, important races like the ones for state and federal legislative seats are on the ballot, so there are plenty of reasons to vote. Anyways, thanks for taking your time to learn more about this plan and ballot measure. If you want more information about the plan from Pierce Transit themselves, check the first link in the description. All I hope is that people are more educated about what they are voting on. And speaking of, please get out there to vote by dropping off a ballot on or before November 3rd. I know I will.